Hello, everyone, and welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. It is Pro Bowl season. The Cowboys had 5 players elected into the 2022 Pro Bowl. We'll talk about it tonight on the show. We'll also take an early look at the Washington football team and what is ahead for the Cowboys on Sunday. Just a quick early look. Tomorrow night, we'll break it even more. We'll break it down even more. And also, it is Wednesday, so one cool thing is back tonight. I'm still thinking about mine, to be completely honest with you. But hey, make sure you hit the like button as you enter the stream. Make sure you share it if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Let your friends know about ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Now that more of us are here, let's start the show officially. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network, with a lot more content coming your way throughout the rest of the Cowboys season. Make sure you check out adcsports.com/Dallas for more Cowboys content and, of course, for more Mavericks content. If you're into the NBA, the Dallas Mavericks season for sure has been an interesting one. Make sure you check out what Alec Cash, what Ian have to say about all of the Mavericks content that you need on adcsports.com/Dallas. So, interesting show tonight. The Cowboys have 5 Pro Bowlers in the NFL Pro Bowl for 2022. And man, we'll talk about it all. We'll talk about some of the snubs. We'll talk about what is the biggest surprise of the list. What is up, everyone? Thank you for joining the show. What is up, Tommy, Jason as well? Over at Facebook, we have Jessica and some more people, including Kashif over here. Go to the Super Bowl. I like that attitude for sure. And Stevie Mac reminding you to hit the like button and, of course, share the stream. Here's maybe, but there are better guys at wide receiver and tight end. We'll talk about it all, but here we go. Here's my first question, actually, to start the show off. And actually, before I give you my question, here are the 5 players. In case you guys have not been able to check into social media, here are the 5 Cowboys players that were selected to the Pro Bowl. Cornerback Trevon Diggs, first-time Pro Bowler. Linebacker / defensive end / cornerback. I will just add it to the list. I don't care. Michael Parsons, first-time Pro Bowler. Punter, Brian Anger, first-time Pro Bowler as well. Let's go. Special teams getting some love in Dallas. Left tackle Tyron Smith. And, of course, right guard Zach Martin. Still, in my opinion, the best guard in football. Even though he's had his moments this season, bad moments, I mean, he's still Zach Martin. I still believe him to be the best of offensive guard in the NFL. Once, someone said, and I can't remember who it was, but someone was asked who is better, whether it is Zach Martin or Quentin Nelson with the Indianapolis Colts, who is also a beast. And I think it was Duke Manyweather. I want to say it was Duke, but I don't want to put words in his mouth if it is not the case. So someone said that Nelson is the better athlete maybe, or the stronger athlete, but that in terms of technique, Zach Martin is still the best. Anyways, based on your preseason expectations, what is one absence in the Cowboys Pro Bowlers list that surprises you the most? The one absence that surprises you the most based on your preseason expectations. Because this is not, and as you can read in the title of the video, the list is kind of a perfect description of the Cowboys 2021 season. Because I wouldn't have imagined that this was going to be more of a defensive list than it is an offensive list. And it might be equal because it is tied at 2-2, but without counting the offensive linemen, talking about skilled position players, I am shocked that the Cowboys really don't have skilled position players on offense in this Pro Bowl. So I think that my answer has to be Dak Prescott. The fact that Dak Prescott is not on this list is the biggest surprise of all to me, based on our preseason expectations. Because truly, I didn't expect Dak to be on this list this weekend, right? Because of everything that has been going on with the offense. Let's see some of your answers. Tommy says Dak Prescott, Beryl Keeler, Randy Gregory. Gregory is another surprise that, we might have thought that he had a chance, but there are so many talented players in the NFC, though, so I really don't hate it. Randall goes with Dak Prescott as well. Cal says Prescott has not played like he did in the beginning of the year. Anger says Beryl Keeler. Well, but sticking to absences, though, right? Oh, right. That is an answer to another comment. Excuse me. Cooper says Peter Rizzo. Amari Cooper might be my second answer to this question. Definitely. I agree with Peter Rizzo. The fact that Amari Cooper is not there is a surprise. But now let's talk about snubs, because I believe there are some players that we are kind of upset that didn't make the cut in the Pro Bowl. And this happens every year. This happens every season. You are unhappy because one player or two players didn't make it when you believed they deserved to be in there. I am not super upset at any of the players that got snubbed, but I think that the debate is between two players mainly on who was the biggest Cowboys snub this season. Some players talking about Ezekiel Elliott as well, speaking about the beginning of the year. Jaron should have been elected, says Ninja. Tony Pollard says Jason Renfro over at YouTube. Chuck says they be hating on our Cowboys. They will make up for it in the Super Bowl. Let's talk about Jaron Kears, because I see he is the number one commented player right now here on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. Jaron Kears kind of got snubbed, I believe. Here's the thing, though. Did he? All right, because I look at the numbers, and I am not 100% convinced that he was unfairly snubbed. So here we go. This is the first question of the show. Do you agree or disagree that Jaron Kears was snubbed from the 2022 Pro Bowl? Because he didn't make it. The players that did are, here we go, strong safeties. It was Harrison Smith from the Minnesota Vikings, and it was none other than Budda Baker from the Arizona Cardinals. And I love Budda Baker, to be honest. I do love Budda Baker. So I think that it is fair for him to make it on top of Jaron Kears, maybe. I was a little bit surprised about Harrison Smith making it, though. Beryl Keeler is snubbed. Everyone seems to agree with the fact that Jaron Kears was snubbed from the 2022 Pro Bowl. Here we go, though. Let's take a look at some of these numbers, because I wanted to compare them to Harrison Smith, because I believe that Budda Baker deserved his spot in the voting. So, Shane has an interesting take here on this from adcsports.com, of course. Shane says he should have made it at least as a special teamer. We'll see if he's an alternate. However, I don't know if he should have made it as a special teamer, because I was looking at the snap counts earlier tonight from Pro Football Reference, and Jaron actually doesn't have that many snaps on special teams. In fact, he's only at 8%, and that number is higher for Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith has a 15% snap count on special teams. Here's the thing, though. 91 tackles for Harrison Smith to Jaron Kears' 94. 69 solo tackles for Harrison Smith to Kears' 61. So Smith has the edge in solo tackles. Here is where it gets a little bit more interesting to me. Harrison Smith has 3 tackles for loss. Jaron Kears has 8 tackles for loss. So Kears definitely in a better spot in such a key stat. Both are tied at 4 quarterback hits. Missed tackles, Jaron has the edge, but it is such a slight edge. Kears has 4 missed tackles, while Harrison Smith has 5 of them. In terms of percentage points, you're looking at 4.1 percentage of missed tackles and a 5.2% for Harrison Smith. 2 interceptions for Jaron Kears, only 1 interception for Harrison Smith. And passer rating allowed, which is definitely 100% a flawed stat, but still interesting to look at when you're looking at all of the numbers. Jayron Kearse allows an 81.8 passer rating when targeted, while for Harrison Smith, that number goes up to 98.9. So Kearse would have gotten my vote 100%, but it's a Pro Bowl, and it is, not really only a meritocracy. It is more of a popularity event as well. So I don't hate Harrison Smith getting in over Jayron Kearse. Also, keep in mind, Harrison Smith has a few less games than Jayron. So I think that Harrison Smith has played in only 12 games to Jayron Kearse, who has played basically in all of them. So I think that Harrison definitely made it over, or was definitely going to make it over Jayron Kearse. I'm not surprised about it because of name recognition. But I think that Jayron, in terms of stats, he has a slight edge over Harrison Smith, I believe. Barrel Killer says Pro Bowl is nothing compared to All Pro. All Pro is definitely a more important one. Name recognition matters, says Ninja. I 100% agree with that. The Reaper says, dude, Smith is more of a name than Kearse. 100%. No one is arguing with that, I believe. The whole way you vote for the Pro Bowl is whack to me, says Rue. This is going to be my old man screams at clouds moment here in ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I so hate the thing that you can now vote on Twitter by retweeting things and tweeting just hashtags out. I hate that. I really do. And I realize that it is my old man yelling at clouds moment. I can live with that. But I am a fan of filling out the Pro Bowl ballot, instead of tweeting out. Because if tweets count as votes and retweets count as votes, then you're talking not only about who's the more popular player, but also who has the more visibility. And that doesn't only include the player and his social media accounts, but also the team's social media accounts. And I think that if you're talking only about the Pro Bowl ballot, there are still some players that are going to have the edge over other ones because fan bases are larger than other ones. But at least it is not as clear as just hitting that retweet button, right? I hate the tweeting thing. I really hope the NFL changes that. I realize that they won't, but yeah, that is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine that I wanted to share with you. None of it matters, says Tommy, because we're going to be player in the Super Bowl anyway. Tommy says Pro Bowls are worse than the preseason games. There's the thing about the Pro Bowls that I always say that I'm not going to watch them, and I end up watching it. That is how it works, right? Anyways, Jayron Kearse is a little bit of a complicated question. Here is another one. How about Dalton Schultz? Do you agree or disagree that he was snubbed from the 2022 Pro Bowl? And I look at this more of as an opportunity to compare stats to other top players in the league. Dalton Schultz was not elected to the Pro Bowl, but the two NFC tight ends that were are George Kittle. I don't think that you can argue with that. The guy has 850 receiving yards, 63 receptions. I think that, George Kittle does deserve the edge there. And then there is Kyle Pitts, rookie tight end Kyle Pitts for the Falcons. I think, even though I agree with that, with Jayron Kearse being snubbed from the Pro Bowl, I will say that I disagree with Dalton Schultz. I think that it is fair that Dalton Schultz was not elected to the Pro Bowl. There's one key number, though. There's one key number from this comparison in which Schultz has the edge, and that is that he has 5 receiving touchdowns and only 651 yards, though, which is definitely something that impacted his chances of making it. Kittle has 850 receiving yards. Kyle Pitts is at 847. Another thing that I found interesting, but this also has to do with the quarterback, but when targeted, Kyle Pitts caught 61.1% of his passes. Schultz is at 74.4%. Here's why I think that Kyle Pitts deserves it, though, because context matters. Kyle Pitts leads his team in receiving yards. He leads the Falcons. He's the number one receiver on that team. And looking beyond numbers, just all that he's able to achieve. Because it is not only about what the spreadsheet says, right? It is only about the impressive catches. And Schultz has some very impressive catches, of course, but Kyle Pitts as well. And Kyle Pitts is out there lining up on the outside, lining up on the numbers, facing top cornerbacks sometimes, facing some brackets from opposing defenses, and still he's able to produce. So he is number one in the Falcons. George Kittle is the second player with the most receiving yards for the 49ers. Dalton Schultz, still a high number, but he's third in the Cowboys. That also has to do with the weapons that each team has. But the fact that Dalton Schultz is maybe not as valuable in terms of, or at least relatively to what Kyle Pitts and George Kittle mean for their respective teams, I think it is fair to give them the edge. So I will disagree with Dalton Schultz. I don't think that Dalton Schultz got snubbed from the Pro Bowl. Ninja says he's got to beat guys like Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara on top of the guys that light the league on fire. Stevie Mack says Pitt's numbers would definitely be lower if Ridley didn't leave and Gage wasn't hurt for a month. And that is something that I agree with. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't put that against Kyle Pitts. It is more I look at it as more of Kyle Pitts' name was called upon and he answered, right? And that to me is enough for him to deserve it. I can see why Schultz didn't make it, says Jessica Villarreal. Tommy says if Pro Bowls were voted on in the middle of the season, we would have had 11 Pro Bowlers, and that is 100% right. We would have seen CeeDee Lamb in there, who, by the way, is closing into 1,000 receiving yards. Lamb might get them, 940 so far. We still don't know if the offense is going to wake up, but he is close. CeeDee Lamb leads the team in receiving yards right now. Amari Cooper is second. I actually, says Ninja, I thought this as well. I agree with what Ninja is about to say here. I actually think Tyron got in based on name recognition over actual performance. I think that is right too. It might have happened because Tyron has missed a few games already. I think that when he has played, though, I think that he has mostly been the same. He has had some bad moments, but some bad reps, and maybe that is different from what we're used to. But Tyron Smith, when healthy, is still one of the best offensive tackles in the NFL. But I think that he got in terms of name recognition. Both Kamara, says Tony Simmons, and Cook being hurt. Cook, yeah, but Kamara, all because of the name. I don't know if you're talking about Tony Pollard here. I don't think Tony Pollard should have made it to the Pro Bowl. I don't even consider him a snub, to be honest. If your snap count is 40% in the games that you're playing, and I realize that is not Tony Pollard's fault, but maybe the coaching staff. We talked about this last night. But I think that you're not getting in the Pro Bowl that way. You're not getting in the Pro Bowl if you're not the starter for your own team. Even if it's wrong that he's not getting more playing time with the Cowboys. So definitely I do not consider Tony Pollard a snub for the Cowboys. Would be interesting to see him play more. Hopefully we see that over the next few games. If the Cowboys want to get the running game going, especially with as many outside concepts like they showed versus the Giants, Pollard is the way. And again, we talked about this last night in case you missed Tuesday's Primetime show. You can check that out. Oh, you guys are talking about as a return specialist. Has Pollard done enough as a I really don't know. I haven't taken a look at those numbers yet. Who was voted in as special teamers? It was Jakeem Grant. Haven't looked at the numbers, to be honest with you, to give you a fair answer to see if Pollard should have been named a Pro Bowler based on his special teams skills. Reaper says, do you all know Tyron Smith has the second best rating on PFF in all of football when he played? Hey, there you go. Tyron Smith definitely elite still, even though we have not seen him play lately. Hopefully he's able to come back. Jerry Jones talked about this, by the way, on the radio today. He mentioned that that he's optimistic about Smith. Maybe not this week, he said, but I do not rule him out. That is what Jerry Jones had to say on 105.3 The Fan. I haven't seen the numbers, but I feel like the Reaper. I feel like I agree with the Reaper here. I don't think that Pollard has done enough to be on special teams to be named a Pro Bowler. Without looking at the numbers, that would be where I lean towards, though. Anyways, still a top 2 tackle when he plays is Dallas Young. I agree with that. Playing time might have cost him the Pro Bowl if he wasn't elected, but he was, and I can live with that 100%. So, the Dallas Cowboys are facing the Washington football team on Sunday. By the way, what is the story? What is the early look? I definitely think that we did not learn a lot from Washington last night because it was Garrett Gilbert in at quarterback. And they have so many players right now on the COVID-19 list or injured. Many of them will surely come back in time. But right now, dealing with some significant injuries as well, based on the Wednesday injury report. Landon Collins didn't practice with a foot injury. This might also have to do with the fact that Washington is obviously going to take it easy because they are dealing with a short week as well. They played on Tuesday, significant advantage for the Cowboys. Antonio Gibson also didn't practice with a toe injury. William Jackson, cornerback, didn't practice with a calf injury. And the same goes for Daniel Wise at defensive tackle. That is without mentioning some other players that were limited in practice, including Curtis Samuel, linebacker Jamin Davis, who's drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. I think this Washington team is still the same team, more or less, than we talked about 2 weeks ago. I really don't know who's going to play quarterback. We will see if they're activated on time. We know that Washington was kind of hoping that Kyle Allen was ready for Tuesday. So worst case scenario, I believe that Kyle Allen is the worst case scenario for Washington. And that is if Taylor Heinicke is not able to return in time. Tommy says, what we learned is that Washington is trash. I also learned that Philadelphia's running game can still be a little bit dangerous. That or Washington's run defense was simply not up for the task last night because Philadelphia dominated them in the trenches when they were on offense. And thank you to Rue Glock, by the way, who's reminding people to hit the like button if you haven't yet. We are here live Sunday through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. Dallas Young, talking about a key angle to this game, 100%. The Cowboys are finally back at AT&T Stadium after a three-game road trip. The Cowboys are back home. And it will be Sunday Night Football. I don't know if neutral NFL fans are happy about that at all because Cowboys versus Washington maybe doesn't mean as much right now as we hoped, maybe as neutral fans hoped at the beginning of the year, because this was potentially a showdown for the NFC East, right? Maybe that was it. But since Washington didn't live up to the expectations, and I'm not talking only about offensively without Ryan Fitzpatrick, but the defense has struggled mightily throughout the entire season. This is somewhat of a game between a team that is trying to figure things out, final details out, and I'm talking about the Cowboys here, versus one that basically saw its playoff hopes crushed in Week 15. Not mathematically, but Washington has 1 foot outside the door, and with a Cowboys win on Sunday, they will be out. Booker Wright has an interesting comment here. I don't know if Booker is talking to me, though. Next time, do your homework on why some people didn't make the Pro Bowl and who make it and why our players didn't. I hope Booker is not talking about me because it's more or less what we talked about throughout the entire show with stats and everything. So the homework was done. Hopefully, it was not meant for me, though. Only team in the NFL to win 3 in a row on the road, the Dallas Cowboys, is barrel killer. Huge for the Cowboys. And this, to me, like one of the more interesting things that I want to see on Sunday is related to one storyline that we talked about a couple of weeks ago when the Cowboys faced Washington for the first time. What is going to happen on the inside? Because Washington has one of the best defensive tackle duos in the NFL. Last time they faced the Cowboys, though, it was Connor McGovern in on the offensive line. This time it will be Connor Williams, who made an impact on the offense last weekend versus the Giants. Hopefully the Cowboys are able to show that again versus Washington, and hopefully Williams is able to pass this next test on the list, because Williams says some of his biggest blunders have come versus top-tier defensive tackles. And Jonathan Allen, who, by the way, also got elected to the Pro Bowl, is one of those top-tier talents, right? I think that a Cowboys offense can get it done versus Washington. If they're coming into this game banged up, I really don't see how Washington keeps it close. Otherwise, I believe it's the same storyline than in the first game. If they can get the running game going with Antonio Gibson, break some big plays here and there, they can keep it close. But to me, this game is not really about Washington. It is once again about the Cowboys fighting themselves. Last weekend, some of the Cowboys' offensive improvements had to do with better, maybe, designs. We didn't see receivers all bundle up together after running their routes like we were watching for a few weeks there, and we were concerned about that because that is not what you want. But also you saw the quarterback play better. Dak Prescott had a better game versus the Giants, even if it's not perfect yet. Definitely some improvement on offense. Can they build on that before facing the Arizona Cardinals? I think this is a game that the Cowboys should win on both sides of the offensive line and defensive line. I would give the edge to the Cowboys. Dallas' run defense was maybe the most concerning part of the defense for the first weeks of the season, or for the first half even of the season, but they have improved. They have improved in this aspect, and that not only has to do with Micah Parsons and Bosa, but it also has to do with the players that are just joining the squad. Neville Gallimore, DeMarcus Lawrence. Lawrence is a huge part of the Cowboys' defense, run defense specifically. And now that we're seeing him play more on the inside, he has more chances to disrupt it. And Neville Gallimore, we talked about him a couple of nights ago. Gallimore is real, and we want a bigger sample size, but I also trust Gallimore to be able to improve and take the Cowboys' run defense to another level, which, if you think about it, if the Cowboys get their run defense figured out, then this defense has the chance to become, truthfully, one of the best in the league, or at least be in the conversation to be the best in the league. Because I think they might not entirely be there yet. But the Cowboys' strength has come versus the past, not maybe because of the secondary, because of the way that they have been able to create pressure on opposing quarterbacks. And if you figure out the run game, then this Cowboys defense is only going to get better and better. Dan Quinn this week has sounded like a madman, because he has been talking about we need to get better and we need to get better. And as fans or as people outside of the game, we just think about what else does he want? What else does he want from this defense? But it is fun to listen to Dan Quinn have this hunger for his defense to improve. And one of the areas that they still need to improve is on the run. But Gallimore, Lawrence, huge part of that, definitely. Hopefully, Keanu Neal has better moments. One of the biggest runs for the Giants last weekend was 100% on Keanu Neal, in my opinion. Maybe a little bit on Jaron Kears as well. I believe, says Tommy, if our defense was healthy for most of the year, we would have had a lot of Pro Bowlers on defense. Gallimore and Lawrence definitely could have been potential players on the Pro Bowl for the Cowboys defense. I agree with that. Those are the two that I would think about. And Gregory as well. Gregory could have been selected to the Pro Bowl, but mainly if they had been healthy for the season, Gallimore and Lawrence. But they didn't play basically anything because Gallimore just got back from injury and Lawrence had to play in week 1. I agree with Tommy, though. Kendall Fuller, says TV Mac, might be still out as well, which just makes our receiver lives easier. Washington is banged up for this one, and that includes Fuller as well, as TV Mac is pointing out on Twitter. And tomorrow night, we will take a look at some of these key matchups. To be honest with you, I haven't been able to dive into the Washington All-22 tape once again, so I will take a look at the 2 games that they had. Well, not only one game, of course, that they've had that we need to take a look at, and that is the Eagles game. But I watched the condensed version of the game, and it was not pretty. They got off to a start 10-0, good start, surprising one, definitely. But there is a reason why the betting markets never gave them more than a 50% chance to win the ball game, even when they had the 10-0 lead. Hey Mo, been on vacation, Feliz Navidad. What is up, burner account? Thank you for joining the show. Also, Norma Patricia over at Facebook. I appreciate your comment, and thank you for being here on Primetime. Gregory, for sure, if he had been healthy most of the season, the way that he was playing, I agree with that. But also, let's take a look at the NFC defensive ends. It is a difficult scenario for Gregory. I love what he was doing, and to me, Gregory's achievement that speaks more to his play, that would have been maybe the number one reason why he could have made the Pro Bowl, is that before week 15, I don't know how numbers have changed since then, but Gregory had the second highest pressure rate in the NFL. He was behind Micah Parsons. So the Cowboys literally had the two highest pressure rate players in the NFL. It was Micah at something like 22%, and then it was Gregory at 17%. Big difference, but that's because Micah is playing insane football. Nick Bosa, Brian Burns, and Cameron Jordan are your three defensive ends. By the way, Micah made it as an inside linebacker. That is fair because that is what he's listed as. But he also could have made it as a defensive end, to be honest. But yeah, Bosa, Burns, and Cameron Jordan are your three NFC players that made the Pro Bowl over Randy Gregory. Would have to take a look at the numbers, but I can live with that. I can live without Gregory in the Pro Bowl. But that pressure rate, those pressure rate numbers say a lot for sure about Gregory. But it comes back to we go back to the popularity thing, of the Pro Bowl. Of course, Cameron Jordan, Brian Burns, Nick Bosa. Bosa is playing some insane football, by the way. In case you haven't watched it, next time that you watch the 49ers, by the way, they're playing tomorrow on Thursday night. Watch Bosa. He's playing on the left side more frequently. That didn't happen before. So he's facing more right tackles, and he's mixing it up. And shout out to the 49ers because they are making noise. I think that the 49ers are officially your dark horse team in the NFC playoffs, to be honest. Biggest Pro Bowl snub for me was Kyr's burner account. That is something that I agree with. Anyways, before I leave you tonight, you guys know the Wednesday rules. What is your one cool thing of the week? And it can be a personal thing, a work-related thing, sports-related thing, whatever you want it to be. What is your one cool thing of the week? This is one of my favorite primetime segments. And I'm guessing that there will be some interesting answers tonight because on Friday, we've got Christmas Eve. It has gone so quickly. 2021 has gone by so quickly to me. I'm impressed by the fact that Christmas is literally this weekend. Even more so by the fact that we are talking about Week 16 football right now. 3 regular season games left to go. So what is your one cool thing of the week? Jessica says it is a short work week. That is definitely exciting. Shout out to everyone who is right now on vacation and enjoying yourselves, and that you're going to be able to enjoy even more sports. I will say that my one cool thing of the week, it is bowl season. I love college football. Maybe I don't get a chance to talk a lot about college football. By the way, next weekend will be huge for college football because we will have the playoff. But I'm excited. I always get excited. Right now, it always fits with me because, as you guys know, I'm still getting done with college. 1 semester left to go. And bowl season usually starts when school is over, right? So you had that morning feeling that you wake up and there is college football on even on weekdays. So to me, that would be mine. Burner accounts, spending Christmas with my in-laws in Iowa. The one cool thing, says Barrel Killer, is Parsons, Lawrence, Gregory, Diggs, all on one team, our team. I will add to that Lawrence playing on the inside. I know that I have talked about this about 3 times on the show already, but I daydream about DeMarcus Lawrence playing a defensive tackle and facing right guards. One cool thing, Tommy says, Dallas moved up to the number 2 seed. hey, let's go Browns and let's go Vikings. If the Packers lose, the Cowboys might jump to number 1. And you cannot rule that out in today's NFL. You really can't. Laurie says, had a movie date with my boyfriend. That definitely sounds amazing. Stevie Max says, I have a ton of alcohol to Shout out to Laurie, who is here in the chat. Stevie Max says, I had a ton of alcohol to last me for the next 2 weeks. That is cool, Stevie Mac. Just be responsible for all of us, but that is cool. Barrel Killer says that it's a very cool thing. That is a very cool thing, 100%. Burner Account says, go Penn State, beat Arkansas. Barrel Killer, anybody beat Nick Saban. Do you guys think that could actually happen? Could Cincinnati have a movie-like performance on the playoff and actually beat Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide team? That would be... I am here for that. I have Michigan beating Georgia, to be honest. That might be a little bit of a hot take, but I have Michigan and Alabama squaring off in the national championship. It will be so exciting to watch, by the way. Don't rule out the Lions. They're shocking the world, says Tommy. If you haven't seen that game and you want to watch it, I recommend doing so because... oh, Stevie, I'll get to that comment. They really outplayed Arizona. It wasn't a fluky win. It was a legitimate win over the Cardinals. I'm a little bit concerned about Arizona, and I'm talking about from a neutral point of view. I'm not talking about their Week 17 game versus the Cowboys. But this team might struggle a little bit without DeAndre Hopkins. I'm part of ADC Sports Dallas. I don't know what being responsible is, Stevie Mac. I don't know what that means, Stevie. I don't know what that means. Tommy says that nope, there's no shot. Paul says that yes, they played Green Bay last game. The number 1 recruit just went to Jackson State. So yes, it is possible. Deion Sanders, crazy man. Crazy that he got Travis Hunter to flip to Jackson State. Anyways, guys, I will leave you. Enjoy your Wednesday night. Have a fun weekend. I will see you tomorrow night, of course. Betting the Cowboys segment, blind recap segment. We will have fun. We are 8-6. We have 1-2 straight on betting the Cowboys. So hit the like button, share the show. Check out adcsports.com/Dallas for more Cowboys content and more Mavericks content. And I will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central. Huge show, huge week for the Cowboys. adcsports.com/Dallas. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow.